Notre Dame football pulled off a tremendous 23-10 victory over the Georgia Bulldogs in the Sugar Bowl to advance to the college football semifinals and a hopeful opportunity to advance to the national championship. And Notre Dame got help from what has been arguably their biggest Achilles heel. Let's talk about Mitch Jeter and this kicking game that came through in the biggest moments. Ryan Roberts from A to Z Sports breaking down Notre Dame's 23-10 Sugar Bowl victory against the Georgia Bulldogs. A lot of things to talk about here, folks, and we will be talking about it for the next few days as we eventually switch over to preparing for Notre Dame's battle against the Penn State Nittany Lions in the semifinals. But want to talk about one of the biggest storylines going into this game that we weren't talking about enough, and maybe the biggest untold hero of this football game. And I want to talk about Mitch Jeter, the graduate transfer kicker from South Carolina, who was among the most accurate kickers in college football entry this year. I think it was like 23 out of 25 his previous 2 years at South Carolina. And we know the drill, folks. Got off to an okay start this year, then had a groin injury, and place kicking has been a massive issue for Notre Dame this entirety of this season. With Mitch Jeter struggling through that groin injury, he was 8 for 15 on field goals coming into this game. Zach Yoakum was 0 for 2. Marcelo Diamaid was 0 for 1 on field goals. And Eric Owens, the former Citadel kicker punter, was 0 for 1 on extra points. So as a unit, they were 10 for 21 on field goals. So entering the playoffs and then entering a game against the Georgia Bulldogs, which most thought was going to be a really tight contest, maybe a one-score game, field goal kicking was a conversation that we had to have, right? In a big moment, was Mitch Jeter going to be able to make a big kick when he has struggled throughout the entirety of the season and hopefully getting a little bit healthier here? Well, folks, not only was he solid in this football game against Georgia Bulldogs, he was one of the heroes that we aren't talking about enough. He was 3 for 3 on field goals on Thursday against the Georgia Bulldogs, and they weren't easy ones either. They were 44 yards, 47 yards, and 48 yards combined respectively between those three kicks. So all over plus 40. And the last one was a little close to the upright, but like for the most part, he was drilling his kicks. Like it was easy. It looked like easy work. And when you add in the extra points, Mitch Jeter had 11 total points in the game against Georgia, and Georgia only scored 10 as a team. So funny enough, one of the biggest, if not the biggest Achilles heel for this team, field goal kicking, literally outscored the entire Georgia Bulldog team. So we can say Notre Dame 23-10, but me in jest is going to say this was Mitch Jeter 11 to Georgia 10. Just an absolutely incredible performance. And while we still haven't seen him in a quote-unquote pressure situation where it's a game-winning kick, and who knows what it's going to look like if it happens against Penn State or in the national championship game against Texas or Ohio State, all I'll say is after this performance this week against the Georgia Bulldogs, you have to feel a lot better, right? Like before the game, if I said that one kick comes down to Mitch Jeter making a big one to advance to a national championship or win a national championship, most people would have shook their head and said like, don't feel good about that, right? Lining up and being able to make that kick. But after this performance against the Georgia Bulldogs, you have to feel better. You have to feel more confident. This was the best that Mitch Jeter has looked in the blue and gold, and I now have a lot more confidence that he's going to make one when it matters most. We have playoff action continuing for the Notre Dame Fighting Irish. Make sure that you're subscribed to the channel and you make sure you check out A to Z Sports on the daily for latest Notre Dame and college football content. And folks, let's continue this wild ride. And as always, go Irish.